Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. I'm Peter Martin. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. It is Tuesday, and in the studio to discuss the football issues, we've got Alan Ruff and Hugh MacDonald of the Daily Mail. And here is what we'll be talking about. Well, when you get a player rolled out in front of the assembled members of the press who's scoring goals for fun, undoubtedly people are going to be asking if he's going to stay or he's going to leave these shores. A strange situation that we always find ourselves in, Hugh, but once you get someone who's a red-hot property, clubs start sniffing around. The man in question, Odsonne Edouard.
Yeah, I mean, the important thing about Edouard is the way he's taking himself onto a different scale. He played for the French under-21 team, scoring goals there. Apart from the scouts that will be there, the clubs that will be there watching their own players are all the top clubs, obviously, in France. And I think there's a Dortmund player in the under-21 team, an Eintracht Frankfurt, a Leverkusen player. They're all in that under-21 team as well. So there's German people watching that game. And I think if you watch the goals he scored over the last couple of weeks, it'd be hard not to be impressed by him.
Yeah, Napoli, one of the back page headlines, £30 million worth of apparent interest. No doubt this will continue all the way to the next transfer window and on to the summer as well. But as far as the player is concerned, he's still got a lot of things he wants to achieve at Celtic.
Ouais, j'ai beaucoup à prouver encore au Celtic. Donc voilà, j'ai toute cette saison à commencer, comme je l'ai dit. Je suis à 100% dedans. Et voilà, je sais que j'ai encore beaucoup de choses à prouver avant de parler de ça.
I've got still a lot to prove within Celtic as part of a Celtic team. And as I said before, there's this season, there's a long season ahead of us. We need to concentrate on that. And that's the key. The key is I've got to prove myself here first.
Well, that's heartening, Ruffy, for Celtic fans who'll be looking and thinking, if he can get himself a year or two still at Celtic, that would be great. If I was Celtic, I'd be looking to extend his contract in a new deal to protect themselves even more.
Yeah, I think he's still a young lad. I think he's still got a lot to learn, but he seems to be on the same path as Dembele. Tues touched on it, under-21s, scoring goals in big high-profile games here. He certainly, I think he's got everything just like Dembele, but it'd be interesting to see if his attitude is the same when that big bid does land on the table and his agent finds out about it, and then see if he has the same thought of staying for a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, let's be realistic about it, Hugh. I think Celtic will face a fight in January and definitely in the summer. He's one of those players that you would look. Do you think he'll stay beyond that?
Not beyond next summer, no. I think he'll be off next summer. I think there's every chance of keeping him in January. I think there's every chance of interest in January because, as you know, January is the desperation window for clubs. And if you've got a guy that scores a lot of goals, he's going to be coveted in January. But I think that would be resisted. But I can certainly see him going next summer, yeah.
Yeah, of course, just looking at this week, a Europa League for Celtic. They're playing at Rennes out in France. Jozo Simonovic, Ruffy, out for 6 weeks. Mikey Johnson's going to miss that match as well. Do they have enough in reserve?
Well, I think they've got more than enough. We saw that, in games when I think a lot of teams that were come up against Celtic would say, oh, that's it, we've got them at the right time. And then lo and behold, 2 or 3 players appear at the same level and the same performance. They throw it in. And they do it, that's what they breed at the club, that when you come in there, you're given maybe a chance to stake a claim, and they come in and they stake a claim, and whoever's been left out finds it hard to get back in. Sham's one of these ones who we thought last year was an absolute regular, Rogic as well. Now they're French players.
Yeah. Can you see them getting a positive result, Hugh, first before we touch on Rangers?
I can just about see them getting a positive result. One of the things about Celtic is in this season, particularly under Neil Lennon, they've proved they can score, and they can prove they can score on their travels. Of course, the downside is they can lose a goal as well. But I could see them getting a score draw. This Rennes team will be more than decent, we know that. But yeah, I could see them getting a point, Peter, yeah.
Should we be optimistic, Ruffy, about the possibility of Rangers and Celtic getting out of the group stages in this tournament?
Yeah, I think we should. I think both of them, given the chance against better sides, have players in their team that can lift the game, and win the certain ones that they need to. And I would think last 32 would be a target for both of them.
Yeah, it's a big night. I'm looking forward to the Feyenoord game. They might have a big name manager in Jaap Stam, but you don't know what you're going to get with the Dutch side on the day.
No, and the interesting thing about Feyenoord's form is that it's been very, very good in Europe. They beat a team that most Scots fans will know, certainly Celtic fans will know, Hapoel Beersheva. They beat them 3-0 in Israel.
Yeah.
So that suggests a good team. But it was only last weekend that they got their first home win in the Eredivisie. They've won away from home. So maybe coming to Ibrox might suit them. There might be a team that, going away from home is what they want. If they're normal Dutch side, you would imagine very quick and adept on the break. But yeah, that's a fascinating game as well. I just love the fact that there's good European games in Scotland.
Yeah, absolutely. To take us all the way to Christmas. Hopefully beyond. Fingers crossed on that. Okay, from Celtic and Rangers in the Europa League, I'm going to switch your attention to a man that I hold very dear because of our association when I was a young reporter in Edinburgh, and that's, of course, Jim Jefferies. He's been in the news. It's been a heart scare. Billy Brown just basically told everybody today that Jim had to be resuscitated. I do hope he has a full recovery. I've never seen so many people with, great well wishes for him from every quarter of Scottish football, Ruffy.
Yeah, I think he's that kind of guy, that I never had much contact with him, but he's certainly been about a few clubs in Scotland, met a lot of people, a lot of contacts, and always got a good word to say about him, always got a wee smile on his face, as we see here. I always found him a very quiet guy, but a lot of players that have played with him say, oh no, there's another side of it.
It was a great fun, great laugh, good patter. And of course, the other great thing about it, Hugh, if you can recall and cast your mind back, if you are a young reporter, I can remember being at Radio 4th in Edinburgh, and you want managers to make you feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
You want them to give you a little bit to you go through that learning curve. And he was magnificent for me.
We're talking about him early. He's a human being. That's what he is. He's a human being, and I know what you mean about that kind of stuff, because we've all had to be there, go through, meeting these big names and things, how they treat us, and he always treated people with courtesy. He had a great sort of way he has a great way of a philosophy of, he treats you well until you give him reason to treat you badly.
And by the way, if you did something, don't get me wrong, he would absolutely hammer you for it, and you could take it on the chin. The only downside, and I laugh about it with him, the only downside for me, Ruffy, at that time was in the radio game, there was no digital recorders. This was all done on reel-to-reel. So interviewing Jim Jefferies, one question could be 3.5, 4 minutes long. So it was you were doing a lot of cutting on the floor, in those days. But great days with him. I thought he was absolutely magnificent. And I really do hope he has a speedy recovery from everyone here on the football show. On another sad note concerning Hearts, before we talk about what's happening in the 21st century with them, Rab Prentice was a great player for the Jambos. There's some great footage, Ruffy, of him actually picking the ball up inside his own half and almost beating the entire Dundee team before rifling the ball over the top of the bar. But it was still great to see the skill. And Rab Prentice, sadly, has passed away at the age of 65. You must have played against him.
Yeah, I played against him and played with him in the Scotland under-23 side. He was old school winger.
Yeah.
You don't see wingers like him now. He'd just get the ball down. And that picture there reminds me of Peter Marinello, that kind of winger.
That's exactly who I was going to say to you, Ruffy.
The winger that we had then.
Yeah.
They were just head down. Giggs always says, head down, get the byline, put it in and let the strikers do their job. That's what he did. The ability to beat players nowadays, we don't see enough of it. And certainly players like him had the confidence to take on 2 or 3 players in one run.
And he wasn't in a great Hearts team either, Peter. I remember that, I was working through in Edinburgh and going through Edinburgh quite a lot then, and I'd actually been a student there. And so what I used to do was I just went to the home game on a Saturday, and the Hibs had a fantastic team at that time. I think, as I always say, the best Scottish team I've seen that never won the title.
Yeah, well, Jefferies was in the team with Rob Prentice.
But they were lower in terms of, they were good hard work inside, but they didn't have the. But watching Prentice there was a great thing in those days where you did go along for the winger. You went and said, we'll get ourselves going with it. You wouldn't say bums off seats, but of course you never had. You weren't sitting down in those days.
The thing about it is, and I think Rob Prentice certainly comes into this category, it's guys who produce that little bit of skill that you actually go home.
That's what it's all about.
And talk about it. You don't go home and think, it was like...
They pressed well.
It was too... Yeah, they pressed well, or that was a great header from the centre half, Robbie.
It was, by the way,
well. He's jinked and dropped a shoulder.
That's what I'm saying. That's the modern day football now. People like Rob Prentice maybe wouldn't get a game because they'd be asked to do other things that they would have been capable of doing. His main asset was just getting the ball, going by people and making goals for people.
It's funny because we're going to talk about the Champions League in Liverpool and Liverpool in the league, and I was watching Liverpool v Newcastle, that famous game the other day there on Sky, and John Barnes was on, and that was preposterous. I mean, modern managers would just have call time out and say, well, listen, we really have to stop this. It was literally basketball, Peter. Just going up and down the park.
It was incredible, and that was John Barnes after an Achilles injury, and he'd come back from it as well. But I think Rob Prentice, no disrespect to any Hearts fans who are under a certain age, but Rob Prentice would walk straight into that Hearts team right now without a shadow of doubt. He'd probably be a superstar in the current Hearts side. But with that in mind, they've got Connor Washington out for 3 months. This is a huge week. I'm curious to get your take on it, Hugh, because quite simply they're talking about it. We've named it on our PLZ soccer site as El Sakiko. It's the only way we can sum it up.
I think it's difficult to be El Sakiko because I think Heckingbottom will be given, I think it'll be given a transfer window. Now, the thing about Levine is it's almost like a Brexit thing where you're trying to, how do you get him out of that job? Now, if he'd have been Robbie Nielsen, if he'd have been any other manager in position at Cathro, he'd have been out by now. He'd been out and nobody would have been. But now he's sitting in there because this almost funny situation where he has a meeting in the office and he goes to the director of football, do you think I should be sacked? And the director of football says, no, Craig, I don't think you should be. It's a wild situation.
Yeah. Ruffy, do you feel, I know Gary Mackay was talking about it in the papers today, do you feel as if the longer she backs him, the more she puts herself in the firing line? I'm talking about Anne Budge.
No, I don't think so. I think she's done enough in the time that she's been in there. She's galvanised the supporters with the club. I think she will make a decision. I think she's strong enough to make that decision. But I think it all depends on how her and Craig Levine, how close they are. We keep hearing that she takes a lot on board of what he says. I would think that, for me, I know you two guys don't agree with me, I think that the scenario would be, look, Craig, you got to give up that manager's job, but you can have your other one back again. And I think he would jump at it. I know you're saying that.
No,
that
I'm just looking. Hugh and I have a certain journalistic telepathy, and right now, the minute you said it, we're thinking we're not having it, are we?
No, I don't think you two would have it, but I think Anne Budge, being Anne Budge, would say, look, this guy is a legend at the club as a player and as a manager as well. We have to do something right by him, and the thing that would be right by him would be give him that job back.
There is one moment in business, and it doesn't matter if it's football, any business, when the actual top person suddenly feels the heat from the misdemeanours of someone else that could actually fall on them too. They actually take them out quickly.
And absolutely, and it is a business, and she's a businesswoman.
Yep.
And the other thing that happens is if the customer base becomes,
disgruntled,
disenchanted and starts withholding the funds, it becomes very difficult. That will be the thing that tips it, is how, I mean, we saw demonstrations on Saturday after the match, etc., etc. How deep, it looks pretty deep in that picture, but if that is sort of infected the rest of the support, I think he's in big trouble, because if they go to her, remember there's a clear conduit between fans and the club now, and if they go up, there's up with this we shall not put, and that puts her in a spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we'll talk about Champions League coming up tonight and tomorrow night as well, but let's not forget the quiz. If it's any consolation, Hugh, Ruffy and Barry Ferguson had a glacial look in their face until the last clue. Then they were on it. Then they were all over it.
The Olympics one, you know, threw me a wee bit.
Oh yeah, that's why I put it in.
Used to, guys. But who won that Olympics? Do we know?
The gold medalists.
The gold medalists.
Do you know?
No, I don't. You know, bad. Aficionados might have won that one.
Was it 2004?
Yeah, it'll be something like
Brazil.
Argentina. Yeah, something like that. We'll check that, Ruffy, and then one of us will have a condescending look on our face if we're right. Simple as that. Just a couple of points before we finish, lads. Got to get your thoughts on cross-border games. The Rangers, Celtic, Aberdeen, Hibs look as if they're going to be participating in this. That, for me, I look at it rather cynically and think, there's a wee bit of jiggery-pokery going on here towards maybe the bigger teams playing in a cross-border league here.
I think precisely the same, and people might accuse us of being cynical, but we might be right as well. Yeah. And I think that's a very interesting move, Peter.
Yeah, okay. Champions League, Ruffy. Liverpool defending their crown. They're up against Napoli in Italy. How do you see the Champions League going this season?
I think Napoli. I think Liverpool will be there or thereabouts. They've still showed us that at the back they're pretty solid, and up front they score goals for fun. And if you've got that kind of scenario with midfield players who are of a certain quality, they'll go far. I can't see any of the other teams setting the heather on fire just now. Well, we're not even talking about Barcelona or Real Madrid.
What about Juventus?
Yeah, they're always hard. Always really
they've improved during the
I was
summer.
going to say that to you, Hugh, because when we're looking for somebody that could dethrone them, Liverpool have always been when they were dominating English football, they were always a side that thought, okay, we've won the European Cup, now we're going to buy somebody that's going to enhance us.
Exactly.
I couldn't think of any player that you could potentially have put in and taken someone out. They've managed now to bolster themselves because Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is now back from injury. Yep. But I'm not sure, could you have added anybody else?
No, I would just say the only thing you could have maybe improved the depth of the squad.
Yeah.
Even then, that would be a moot point, because Lallana's a smashing player as well, and he's on the fringes. But I think they could maybe have improved the depth of the squad. But 1 to 11, no, I don't think there's a player out there. I honestly don't. I mean, okay, we'll talk about Messi's and Ronaldo's, but realistically, I don't think there's a player out there that you would say, right, he'll definitely get into a Liverpool. Yeah. That's how good they are at the moment.
And do you think Juventus are there to take the crown off them?
I think they're interesting this year. I think they're strengthened very cleverly with use of Bosmans. They've strengthened in the summer. They've got a player that is deeply competitive as their number one in Ronaldo. He'll be doing everything. He's got an absolutely spectacular lead in the Champions League. So I'll be keeping an eye on them, you know.
And of course, you're going to keep an eye on Dortmund because you're a Dortmund fan.
Very much a Dortmund fan. Whether they've got the quality. I mean, if I thought Dortmund would get to a semi-final or something, I'd love that. Whether they've got quite the quality to win a Champions League, I don't really think so.
You'll be watching them against Barcelona tonight. Yeah. Can they win?
Yes, they can win because they won at the weekend very handily against Leverkusen. They're in good form at the moment. They've had one bad result this season, and they're pretty strong at the moment. Yeah. They can win.
To be fair, Hugh does go over to Germany with his son to see Dortmund on a regular basis. I thought, Ruffy, it might be a good idea if I can wangle a couple of tickets, we might get down and see a Liverpool Champions League game. Is that something that would excite you?
Yeah, I think that stadium is as well. I've actually played in that stadium. It's a wonderful stadium.
Was there any save that you would have in there? Did you ever imagine having a stadium?
Yeah,
a wee one.
Toshak,
a wee Toshak one. But I'd love to be in that ground.
Yeah.
The Dortmund behind the goal.
Yeah. I've been in the Westfalen Stadium as well. It's absolutely fantastic.
It's a beautiful stadium.
I think Germany were giving Scotland the once over in it, to be perfectly honest with you. We didn't get a chance to cheer or just watching the Germans enjoying themselves. So anyway, on that note, you can give us your view on our YouTube channel right across our social media. Do indeed join us not only on Facebook and Twitter, but on YouTube. You can subscribe. If you download our app, it's a simple process for you. All you do quite simply is have a look for the PLZ app, and when you download that, you'll get all the news from English football, Scottish football, European and world, and you get unique video content as well. So good luck with that, downloading the app. But do join us, tell your friends, like, share and follow us, the ever-growing football family on PLZ Soccer. Thanks to Ruffy. Thank you to Hugh MacDonald. From myself, Peter Martin. Thanks for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.